Hello and welcome to Getting to Know the Garnet. I'm your host, Brandon Hodnett. Today I'm joined by Jim Heller, head coach of Swarthmore Golf. He joined the Garnet team in 2005 and was named the Centennial Conference's Coach of the Year in 2012 and 2017. In two of the past three seasons, his team has been recognized for having the highest GPA in all of Division III. Jim, thanks for joining me today. It sounds like we're lucky to have you here after a recent health scare. How are you feeling now?
I'm feeling a lot better. It was a little scale back in November 10th. I played golf and came home, and I went in the driveway to go out and play with my great grandson. And next thing I knew, I was on the ground.
Hmm.
And my wife took me to the hospital, and then they were trying to transfer me over to Lankenau instead of Riddle, because that's where my heart doctor is. And I actually coded in the hospital. And I was out for about 2 minutes, and they had to do CPR and all. So it was a little scary. Then I went over to Lankenau, and they put in a defibrillator in, and then I had my cardiac conversion last Wednesday. So it seems like I'm out of AFib now. So that's the big secret, is to stay out of AFib.
Well, we're very fortunate to have you here with us still, and we're glad you're doing better. Jim, first of all, you mentioned grandkids, great grandkids. How many grandkids and great grandkids do you have now?
Well, I have two daughters. The one has three girls, and which two of them are twins.
Okay.
And then on my other side, my oldest daughter has three boys. And then she got remarried, and I picked up two more step grandkids. So I got a total of 8 grandkids. And then my oldest grandson, who was 25, had a baby boy recently. So I'm a great grandfather also.
That's got to feel great.
Yeah, so I got a large family, and we enjoy it, and spend a lot of time at the beach where we cram in 16 people.
Oh my!
That's what the beach is for.
Yeah. Which beach do you like to go to? Where's your house at?
I own a home down in Ocean City, New Jersey. So we're fortunate there. So it works out pretty well.
Very nice. And so, Jim, I just want to talk a little bit about your background, and if you could tell us what you did prior to coaching at Swarthmore. I know you had a interesting past in your history.
Well, I got a long history. I graduated high school back in 1966, probably before you were born.
Yeah.
And then I went to Goldie Beacom Junior College on a basketball scholarship. In my high school days, I actually played with the rookie of the year in 1971, a guy named Jeff Petrie. I played basketball with him, so that was quite a ride. And then after that, we had the draft back then, and I was lucky enough to pull number 13. So I volunteered. I said, "Oh, I'm going to go, so might as well get me." I enjoyed the summertime, and then I went to the Army, and I was fortunate having the 2-year degree. They sent me to communication school instead of infantry. So I actually made sergeant out of the graduate school communications, and then I lucky again. I went to Germany instead of Vietnam. So I came to full boat, and then I was getting out of service. I was going to go to the sporting goods business with my dad, but my dad got cancer and died at age 50. So I had a year where I was trying to figure out what to do with my life, whether to go back to school. I actually went back for a semester at Eastern, but I actually broke my wrist the second week I was there for practice. So that put a little damper on it. And then after that, I was just actually tending bar at a local tavern, and somebody said, "Why don't you look at the police force?" So I joined the police force back in 1971. I started out making $6,400, just to show you.
A year.
And then I actually bought my first house for $25,000. and that same house is actually going for about $260,000 now. It's a little twin house, but they call it a townhouse in Springfield. Mm-hmm. So I spent 24 and a half years on the police force in Springfield, and in 1995 I had a misfortune of going into a house fire, and we had to go in twice. We actually saved 10 people, but I picked up smoke inhalation where it damaged my lungs really bad. I tried working, and then next thing I know, I had an attack when I was on duty. I had somebody draw a gun on me, and so they came in the hospital next day and said, "See you later." So I said to myself, what am I going to do? I'm 47 years old. I can't lay around and not do something. So at the time, I was working part-time for the school district, doing non-residency checks. And the principal said to me, "Well, when you come over here and work, we can't pay you much." So I went over, and money was not the issue, because like I said, I was on disability and with my medical benefits. So I went over to high school and did all non-teaching duties, study hall, in-school suspension. So then I picked up the freshman girls basketball. So I did that for 14 years, believe it or not. And then I also picked up the head coaching job of golf. I did have a golf background due to the fact that I actually played in college, and I also worked at Rolling Green for about 10 years, all through my caddying and working the pro shop and so forth. So I had a little bit of background there. So I actually worked Springfield High School until 2000. Getting my days here mixed up. 2000 up until 2005. So 1995 to 2005. Then I actually continued to work at the high school from 2005 to about 2010, doing both jobs, doing the golf job at Swarthmore and also girls basketball at Springfield. And then when I hit 65 and my golf job at Swarthmore started to get more intense because our team got better. So that's when we started playing in the spring and the fall. So then I devoted all my time from that thing to the present day. It covers a lot of years and a lot of time, but one of the good things about it was my youngest daughter was a pretty good lacrosse player. In fact, she made All-American high school and college. And she actually coached at Swarthmore for about 5 years.
Oh, really?
And I did have the opportunity to watch all her games, both in field hockey and lacrosse, because I was not on disability and had a real flexible schedule. So that was one of the plus sides.
And Jim, you've won, or you've been named the Centennial Conference Coach of the Year twice. What did that mean to you to be recognized for being the Conference Coach of the Year?
Well, it meant a lot, because when I first started at Swarthmore, the golf program was at a, I would say, an all-time low, in my opinion, because actually the golf coach was sports information guy. And no disrespect to you guys, but you know how much you had to work on sports information, and the golf was just a side job for him. So he didn't really have the opportunity to make the program what it should be for a school of Swarthmore's nature. So, and me being full-time, part-time, it gave me the opportunity to rise the program. So we came from the bottom of the Centennial Conference to one of the teams that was respected and is still respected from this day on. In fact, last year we led the conference championship the first 2 days, and then the third day we lost out. but it meant a lot because the program is recognized not only at Centennial Conference, but also in the Philadelphia area as one of the better programs.
And I know that, the past several years that I've been here, the team has done very well academically as well, and have been recognized as having like the highest GPA in Division III. What does that mean to you as a coach, knowing that your student athletes are doing their homework and excelling in the classroom too?
For the last 3 years, we were national champ twice. And it means a lot because I put academics first and golf second. You're not going to hear that from many golf coaches. But we're here to educate the students first, and the golf is a bonus for them. So if somebody, and unlike other teams, even though it's a team sport, it's more individual than say something like basketball. So if a student has a problem with his studies, I tell them to take a couple of days off and get caught up and then come back and play. One of the real benefits now is the room that our golf room now, it gives them the opportunity, instead of going on a course they can spend, in which you spend 2 to 3 hours on, they can go to the golf room and accomplish a lot within the next 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. I have as my virtual background the indoor golf center. What ways have you seen it benefit the golfers? I mean, just the fact that they can get in there when it's cold or dark, or what ways have you seen it benefit the golf team?
Well, the big benefit is that we have a split season where we play half our matches in September, October, and the remaining matches are March and April. And our championships are the last week in April. It actually gives a golfer the opportunity to play golf the whole time they're on campus. Even though I can't participate with them during my dead period, they can still go in a golf room under the leadership or our captains, and they can actually play the whole semester, whole 2 semesters in the golf room. So that was a big accomplishment, and I really thank our former athletic director, Adam Hirsch, for pushing that through with us. And believe it or not, it cost approximately $200,000, and we actually raised that money within a week.
Wow!
So we had some big donors on board ahead of time, and they would just wait for the phone call to give us permission to go ahead with that. So as soon as the matchbox was completed, we jumped right on them to get some space at the Mullen Center.
Yeah, we're very thankful for all the donors that supported that project. That was really, really important for the team. So Jim, I know that Swarthmore, the golf team, has had the chance to play at a number of great courses throughout your time here. A lot of them during spring break. What are some of the best courses that the team has gotten to play on with you coaching?
Well, one of the greatest courses that I really enjoy playing on is it's called Ocean Forest in Frederico, down in Georgia. We went to Sea Island, Georgia. We were lucky. One of my parents asked me where I was going on a spring trip, and I said to him, "Well, it's really undecided." He said, "Well, I have a home in Sea Island, Georgia." He says, "How many do you take with you?" I said, "This particular year we had 10 players and 2 coaches." And he said, "Oh, that will work out good because my home has 6 bedrooms and 4 baths." So we went down there, and in fact, the same gentleman was a big contributor to the golf room, him and his son and family. So I said to him, "I'd never been to Sea Island, Georgia. Can you help me out with the courses?" So they had a lot of resort courses that we played. So there was 2 courses called Frederico, and where Davis Love practiced at. In fact, we had an opportunity to meet him. Then the following year, we had the opportunity to meet Zach Johnson, who was also belonged to that club. Funny thing about it was we were at the pool one day, which is part of resorts, and there was like 24 guys that go there every year, and they asked us where we're playing, and I told them, well, we're playing at the resort courses, but we're also playing at Frederico and the other main course down there. And they said, well, we've been coming here for 25 years and we have yet to see those two courses. So it gave the opportunity to play with courses. In fact, the Frederico course and also Ocean Forest course are both used for championships along with the resort courses.
Wow, that's impressive. Jim, if you had the chance to play at any course in the world, just hypothetically, where would you want to play around at?
Well, I've been there, but I haven't played it. I would love to play Pebble Beach.
Yeah.
That's a number one. And also the other course locally, of course, is Pine Valley. I actually did have an opportunity to play that course one time, but I actually, believe it or not, turned it down.
Really?
My daughter had a lacrosse game, and that took family who comes first. So I took the opportunity to go to a lacrosse game.
Another hypothetical question for you. So if you had to, if you're playing in a golf tournament and you needed 3 other golfers to fill out your team, who, dead or alive, which golfers would you pick as your top 3 to join your team? The best golfer of all time.
Right off the top, I would actually go with the Tiger Woods, which everybody assumes that's going to be number 1. But I would actually go with Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer, the 3 top golfers around. And then if I need a substitute at 1, I would actually go with Gary Player, who actually lives in the area now. So he actually, at Rolling Green, where the course I play at, he actually just went out there and shot 75, and I think at his age was like 82 or 83 now.
Wow, that's impressive. Swarthmore regularly hosts home matches at Springhaven and Rock Manor. What are some of the hardest holes on those courses for golfers?
Well, Springhaven, we actually only practice there because we don't have availability. So we do go down to Rock Manor, which is actually real close to school, even though it's in Delaware. And actually the 2 toughest holes there, I would believe actually the first hole and then the 18th hole. One's a par 4 and the other's a par 5. But the first hole, you have to position your ball in the right spot, because if you go to the right, you're actually out of bounds. And if you go to the left, there's several sand traps on the left-hand side along with a big tree. So if you don't play it smart, majority of the times I tell my golfers to think about going off with an iron or a 3-wood rather than a driver, because even though it's almost a drivable hole, there's too much disadvantages of going with the big club. And then the 18th hole is a nice par 5 where you can actually attack it, but then there's problems if you don't put your driver in the fairway, because it's out of bounds on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side it's a bunch of fescue. So if you don't play it smart, you could be yourself in trouble.
So I'm an amateur golfer. I only get to play a couple times a year. What's one tip that someone like myself as an amateur could do to improve my game right away? Like, what's something that you see is a pretty common mistake that people make?
Well, the biggest common mistake is people overswing. Majority of people that don't play often enough usually have a baseball swing, or even on the female side, they have what we call a hockey swing. So golf is a lot more technique than it is power.
Jim, we've gotten to know a lot about you in this interview, but is there anything else about Swarthmore Golf that you'd like to share?
Due to the virus, I'm going to have a problem coming up because my team next year is going to be quite large. In fact, the largest team I ever had. And half the golfers I never saw swing a club because I have my current freshman who got messed up because of the virus. And then I have at least 4 coming in. So that's eight out of the 16 golfers that I never saw before. And then I have 2 out of my 3 seniors took a gap year. So I have them coming back. So it should be quite competitive.
Yeah.
Like I even got a video the other day. I have several of my golfers down in Hilton Head, South Carolina, and one of the incoming freshmen hit a drive 315. So it's a couple of them are shaking their heads saying, well, we got these guys coming in and we have the freshmen that we haven't seen before. Where am I going to be on the spot? And the other thing is I'd like to bring up is I try not to cut anybody because I'm only dealing with space. So I do have a lot of, as you know, I have a lot of A tournaments and a lot of B tournaments. So every golfer on my team, no matter where they stand in the lineup, gets to play 5 or 6 college matches. And that's actually unheard of from a lot of our competition. They say, how are you getting the resources to do this? And I do send a fundraiser letter out every year, and I actually bring in a large amount of money that I can use for this, and it doesn't cost the college any money. The relationship that I have with my golfers from Swarthmore, I put about 80 golfers through the program, and I think I'm in communications with about 75 of the 80. The 5 that I'm missing are actually people that were just in the program for a year or 2. So it's quite like when I had my problem, I got get about 20, 25 phone calls from alumni golfers who were thinking about my health. So it's that's the main thing. It's communications I have with my present team and also my alumni team, which is quite evident that in the room that you're in, that we were able to put that through with no expense to the college. Yeah,
that's awesome. That alumni connection that you have.
And the other thing I want to bring up, we actually have 4 players from Swarthmore that had hole-in-ones during our tournaments. We even have one player has a double eagle. And for terminology, a lot of people don't know what a double eagle would mean. It was a par 5 hole and over 500 yards, and he actually put the ball in the hole in the second shot. So that's a little bit better than a hole-in-one.
Yeah, that was Bamsey a couple of years ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you see it in person? Were you at the hole?
I was right near the hole. I was going by, and all of a sudden I heard a yell and turned back, and the people up, fortunate that we just getting off the green, they were all of a sudden they heard something coming, and here they saw the ball actually hit the pin and go into the hole.
And from what I understand, a double eagle is statistically harder to get than a hole-in-one. There's more rate.
Yeah, because you had to hit a good tee shot. I mean, he hit a tee shot 280 plus, and then he had another 275 in. So it's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, that's wild. Any other highlights that stick out to you from your time coaching?
I think 1 or 2 walk-ons actually made all conference,
Hmm.
and they walked on. And then I also, even though we don't have a female program, I actually put three females through the program, and I got them in individual tournaments. And to this day, I'm actually still friendly with one of the female golfers. In fact, she made a big donation to the golf center. She has a name, the all-purpose room next to the golf center is named after her. So that was an achievement, because she wanted to come to school because her sister was at Swarthmore,
Mm-hmm.
and we said we'll make it happen. And she actually played. She actually made all conference one year, and she played roughly 10 tournaments a year. So we made that happen. So stories like that make you feel pretty good. And then accomplishments of what students do once they leave Swarthmore is quite incredible. In fact, I have 2 or 3 in law school right now, and I have one in the last year of medical school.
Well, Jim, that's all the questions I had for you. If there's anything else you wanted to share, feel free.
The only thing I want to share is I hope to at least get 4 more years in. I mean, I'm probably the oldest member on the staff now, but I'd like to get at least four more in. So hopefully my health will bounce back to get 4 more years in. And after that, I can't guarantee anything, but we'll go from there.